Okay, then comes a group we call the concerned, happening, human cause, serious problem, but a generation or more away. Okay? So I don't need to really worry about it yet, and I haven't really engaged in terms of behavioral change. Then come the cautious, might be happening, might not. Might be human caused, might be natural. Not really sure if it's a risk, don't pay much attention. Then come a very interesting group we call the disengaged. These are people who simply have heard of climate change but don't know anything about it. Okay? So for them, it really is, the main barrier is just lack of basic awareness. Then a group we call the doubtful. Might be happening, but if it is, it's completely natural. Nothing we can do anything about, nothing we need to be worried about. And then last is this group that we call the dismissive. Absolutely not happening, and very likely to say this is an outright hoax. And in line with the imagery data I showed you earlier, this group has basically more than doubled in size over the past year. Okay. Which again is just showing that we've been losing, in a sense, the communications battle. Yeah, there's a very strong relationship there between this group and the naysayers. In fact, we're doing that. I'm sorry? There's no 23%. We have 6 numbers in 2010. You have 91%. 91%. I'll have to check that. Yeah. Thank you. I hadn't.
This said 7% naysayers became 23% naysayers, but you've got 7% dismissive becoming 60%.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Ah, yes. Thank you. No, there's not a direct mapping there between the imagery and this. Thank you very much. No, in fact, some of the people who are providing the imagery actually would show up in this doubtful category as well. Yeah, thank you for the clarification. Okay. Yes, I'm almost done. Okay, so the last point I really want to make about this is how this potentially translates to policy. On some policies like regulating CO2 as a pollutant, you see the pattern that you would expect. The alarmed are very supportive of this kind of a thing. The dismissive are very much against it. But what's interesting is, and this is just one example, but we see this across a whole range of energy policies, that actually almost everybody supports these things. Okay? So when it comes to, for instance, major national investments in renewable energy research, everybody agrees with this. I mean, really high percentages. I think it's at 84% right now. And it's hard to design a survey question that you can get 84% of people to agree with. I mean, I dare say if we asked people, do you love your mother or apple pie, we wouldn't get quite those percentages. And the point is that lots of different people can get to the exact same place for very different reasons. Politics is the art of strange bedfellows and getting people to back a policy, though for perhaps very different reasons. These people support it because they care about the environment, they care about climate change. These people may care and support energy policies for completely different reasons, like national security. For them, one of the key values that's underpinning them is about freedom and liberty and self-reliance. And it just bugs them to no end, the fact that we are so dependent on other countries for our sources of energy, and those countries are not exactly freedom-loving democracies. Okay? That's just, all I'm saying is that these different ways of framing an issue can open it up to other participants. Another major point to be made here is on cap and trade. This is the results from about a year ago, which was, even the alarmed don't support this policy. And in fact, the research we've just done recently found that about 2/3 of Americans have never even heard of this issue. Okay? Now that is a clear indication, if you need one, that the community at large, including the administration, has not exactly done a great job of selling this to the American public if 2/3 have never even heard of the policy in the first place. But it's a jump ball. It's a jump ball, and it's not entirely clear yet which side's going to come down with it. The other side is out there busy trying to call it cap and tax and, et cetera, et cetera. Will they succeed in that? I think we still aren't entirely sure. Okay, so just some communication strategies to suggest, using concrete images and telling human stories instead of just providing the statistics and the parts per million and the degrees centigrade and so on, I think are really, really important. Highlighting the local and the regional impacts. I mean, Tip O'Neill once quipped, all politics is local, and we've heard a lot about that. I think we've really got to do the work to get it down to the local level, and the fact is that you can tell powerful stories at the local level. And open up the conversation to other ways of framing this issue. It's one of the few advantages this issue actually has. Okay? This has been called the policy problem from hell because we've seen all the cognitive and psychological and social and political problems with actually addressing it. One of the few things it has going for it is that it's so fundamental, and energy is so fundamental to our civilization that it touches every aspect of our lives. It is quite legitimate to talk about it as an environment issue, an economic issue, an economic competitiveness issue, a national security issue, a moral Christian issue, a public health issue. All of those and more are absolutely legitimately new ways to open the conversation. Highlighting the solutions. We've heard a lot about don't just scare people, because if you don't give them an action that they can take, that they can actually implement, then you're often causing more problems than you started. Know your audience. Basic stuff, but you need to be thinking about how to tailor both the message and the messenger appropriately. And again, this point, there are many roads to Damascus. People are going to come to support policies or changes in their own behavior for very different reasons, and we need to be ecumenical. I can use that term in that regard. So, thank you very much.